Storm Jeff Wilkerson from the Department of Public Works in the city of Martinsburg. Jeff, good morning to you, buddy.
Hello. How's everybody today?
We are well. How are you, sir?
We're doing good. Thanks.
Well, I hope you had a Merry Christmas and a wonderful holiday season, but I guess it's time to get back to work in earnest here this morning, Jeff. What do you guys have going on in the city? How many trucks do you have out?
Well, we got 9 plow trucks out. 6 of them have salt spreaders. We have a couple pickup trucks that are hitting neighborhoods. Everything was going good till about 3 o'clock, and it intensified to about an inch and a half an hour, and we're just trying to catch up from that. So most of our trucks right now are on the main drags, trying to keep them open, and it looks like we got some of it's tapered off a little bit now, so that'll help us get caught up on some of the secondary roads and side streets.
As I understand this storm today, Jeff, there will be windows where it kind of dies down for an hour or two before it picks back up again. Then, as you mentioned, that's very helpful to getting caught up with the roads.
Yes, it looks like we might have a couple-hour window coming up now. Like I say, that's going to help us catch up. What's going to hurt us the most is going to be the temperatures with this storm. It doesn't look like it's going to get back above freezing until maybe Saturday or Sunday. So we'll probably be dealing with it most of the week.
Bill?
Yeah, how much of 11 do you are you responsible for, Jeff?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, how much of Highway 11 are you responsible for? The reason I ask is I drove in on 11 today. I took the long way around because I was afraid of Eagle School Road, one portion of it. But 11 was in great shape, and I just wonder, did you do that or the county?
No, that would be the West Virginia Department of Highways. That's their responsibility. Route 11, Route 9, even when they cut through the city, that's usually DOH's responsibility.
Well, they've done a good job. It's in very good shape.
Yep.
Yeah, there are no county roads in West Virginia. Of course, you know that, Bill.
Yeah, I know
There's
that,
state roads there. Jeff, how many people do you have working today, and what kind of shifts are they working?
We've got 13, 14 employees on day shift and the same amount on night shift that'll come back in at 5 o'clock tonight and work till 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. And it looks like we'll probably work that schedule throughout the week.
John?
Yeah, Jeff, good morning.
Morning.
A lot of the roads, I noticed, this will go into the county probably as much as into the city, but they were pre-treated, those trucks spreading salt or whatever it is onto the roads. Yet, the roads that were treated are still really packed with snow. What is the purpose of what they're putting down? Is that to keep snow from accumulating or what?
Yeah, typically it's a brine process. It's basically just water with 23% salt mixture, and DOH does a good job of pre-treating. The city isn't able to do that yet. There's special equipment that we would have to purchase to be able to make the brine ourselves. But what that does, you put that brine down, and it lets when the snow falls on the road, it doesn't let that ice bond to the asphalt. So it's much easier to clean. It's much easier to plow.
Okay, so it still allows the snow to accumulate. It's to make it easier to plow.
That's right.
Is it more effective with snow than would be with ice, Jeff?
No, it works both. The only thing you got to remember is if a storm is going to start out as rain, you don't want to pre-treat with the brine because the rain will wash it off. But if it's going to be all snow or all ice, it's definitely going to help so that ice doesn't bond to the asphalt.
So does the city own all of its own, the machines that are out there plowing, are those all city owned, or do you do contract work, bring in contractors?
No, everything you'll see today and this week is city equipment. It's very rare that we use contractors. It has happened once since I've been here in the last 14 years. We get over 2 foot. That's probably when we start looking for help because we know that we're going to have to start hauling snow out of downtown and take it to various locations. But everything that you'll see this week is city-owned equipment.
Yeah, I realize you're for the city and not the state. But does that hold true of the state as well? Do they use contract snow plows, individual snow plowing?
They do. I don't know what their guidelines are and when that kicks in or when they start looking for outside help, but I know they do in the larger storms.
Yeah, at one time I heard they could not or would not use contractors, but then more recently I have the impression they are using contractors. So I wonder if there's been a shift in policy in the last 4 or 5 years.
It could have. They probably get their directive from Charleston, so I guess it depends on who's in charge at the time.
Jeff, who do you get your road salt from, and any other items that you put on the road in terms of supplier?
Typically, we go out to bid every year for our salt. This year, Corgill won the bid for our road salt, so we get that delivered from the Inner Harbor down there in Baltimore.
How do you know how much to order? The winters around here have been so unpredictable in terms of how much precipitation that we get in the form of rain or snow or sleet or whatever.
Yeah, I typically order about 200 tons each time that I get salt in. We have about 200 to 300 tons right now on hand. That'll definitely get us through this week and maybe a little more. So I guess it just depends on what the temperatures are, what time of year it is. For example, last year we had a storm. I think it was towards the end of March or towards the end of February, early March. I ended up running out of salt. We ordered a couple hundred tons. Of course, we didn't use any the rest of the year, so it kind of sat till the following year, and we just order a new batch in, mix it up, and it's good to go.
Does that lose any effectiveness if it sits for a long time?
No, typically it doesn't. Like I say, if we have something that sits over the summer, I'll order a couple hundred tons and mix it all together, and it works just like it's as effective as it normally is.
Jeff, we used to see a lot of cinders being put on the road. Don't see as much now. Has there been a change in policy?
Not with the city. We still mix our salt with what we call it stone dust. It's the cinders that you see. We still mix like one bucket of salt, one bucket of stone mixed together. So we still use both.
What streets or roads do you try to hit first, Jeff, and then what do you get to last?
Typically, we try to make sure King and Queen's open. Even though those are state routes, sometimes the state equipment can't get in here as quickly as we can. Depending on what time of day it is, depending on if it's a weekend, we try to make sure Tennessee Avenue's in good shape for the hospital through town. So we try to hit all the main streets, and then we get off to the secondary streets, and then as time permits, we get into the neighborhoods and get those open as well.
You mentioned the hospital, and I realize the state has a responsibility to the exit from the highway. But the proximity to the hospital, are you ever called upon to assist the state in ensuring that exit ramp is clear?
Not specifically that example. If the state were to call us for some help, we would definitely assist them as we would be able to. But typically, they're able to take care of their own. There are times where we'll communicate with each other. One example was probably 5 or 6 years ago. I thought we were gonna run out of salt, and I called the state office there on Rockcliffe Drive and said I might have to borrow a couple truckloads. And he said, "That's funny. I was getting ready to call you and ask you the same favor." But luckily, it didn't happen, and we were both in good shape. But yeah, we do communicate.
Getting to the point where you're like going into the kitchen cabinet to get the Morton salt out of the top shelf there, throw it onto a truck there.
That's right.
Jeff Wilkerson, our guest here on the program, the Director of Public Works in the city of Martinsburg. Jeff, how are the roads this morning at this hour as we speak?
They're not really in good shape right now. Like I say, we kind of got behind a little bit when that intensity picked up. Luckily, it's tapering off a little bit, so that'll give us some time. The big thing with this storm you got to realize is the temperatures. It's only around 20, 22 degrees right now, depending on where you're at. I'm sure out in the county it's probably colder than that, so we're not going to get above freezing. There's going to be no sun today, so it's really not going to melt a whole lot. So everything's going to stay frozen for a couple days, so it's going to take us a while to get everything cleaned up.
Very good. Go ahead, John.
Do snowplows ever get stuck? And then there's the next question of,
who
and
gets
then
the
what?
snowplow? Jeff goes and gets
Yeah,
the
it's
snowplow.
happened from time to time, and luckily we have bigger equipment like front-end loaders and backhoes that we can help get them pulled out.
My brother-in-law drives a snowplow for PennDOT around the city of Pittsburgh. He said it's the most fun job he's ever had. He wished he'd had been doing this when he was younger.
Yeah, our employees really enjoy it. It's a good time. They get some overtime. They do something different that they haven't done in a while. So we've got a really good group that does a really good job.
Any messages for motorists out there in the city of Martinsburg residents, Jeff?
Nope, just like I normally tell everybody, if you can stay home, please stay home. Stay off the roads. Give us time to get things cleared and open up. Again, like I just said, this week the temperatures are really hurting us. So it's going to take us a while to get this all cleaned up. But just everybody take it slow and be safe.
Thank you, man. Appreciate your time this morning as always.
Yep. You guys have a good day. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff
Take care.
Wilkerson, Martinsburg, City of Martinsburg, Director of Public Works. We appreciate